Hey y'all, it's Natalie, and it is time for day 2 of the September School Hop hosted by the awesome Sara Scraps. And today I am doing the second son. And the theme this year again is bad puns. And it's not really a bad pun, but we got some Swifties in the house. So the title is going to be In My Third Grade Era. A pun on, all of the Eras tour and the Taylor Swift phenomena that is taking over the world. So I have created a page yesterday for Heath. You can go back and watch the video yesterday for that. But I'm making this page to be basically a companion page to that. So they're going to have similar elements. I picked a ledger page instead of notebook paper, but it's still the same vibe with the off-white paper. And then I'm using a lot of the Academia collection. So I'm also going to put this torn piece over a wood grain here. On yesterday's layout, I put it over some brick paper. So I did the colorful wood grain, which is from, there you go. I'm showing you, there's Heath's layout and this is Lachlan's. So similar, but not identical, right? I'm going to do the same sewing along the edge there with the wood grain and kind of bring up the edge and make it a little distressed and give it some texture, which is really nice. I'm only going to do it on the one side though. So I do have 2 photos of Lachlan. He's doing his little peace sign, thumbs up. I took one of the frames and I did sew around it as well to give that sewing element again on the page. And I'm going to use this green grid paper to back that frame. And it's basically the color of his shirt. He picked this cute little army green shirt as his back to school clothes. So I really wanted to use that paper with this layout. And I'm just going to place both photos over the top. And now I'm using the same stamps that I used on yesterday's layout, the Tim Holtz painter stamps, to make part of his title. I decided I also want to use another frame. I want it to come out from the side of his photo, so I'm going to split it in half, and I'm going to back it with the same paper with the school supplies that I used to back the layout yesterday. I used this to back the cut file. So I'm cutting it in 2 different directions though, because this one frame is going to come out from the side of the photos and the other half of the frame is going to come out diagonally from the top of the page. And so I had to cut my pattern paper so that the supplies were showing, in the right direction when you look at the page. So that's what I'm doing there. I did go off at screen and sew around the edges of those frames as well as I roughed up the edges and everything, as I do distress the edges for interests. And I'm just using my tip runner to put the pattern paper here on the back of the frame and kind of figuring out where everything goes. So you can kind of get a vibe of it, and I'm figuring out where everything goes before I stamp, because I'm stamping the title. It's risky business. You have to make sure that you have room for all the words, that all the words are spelled right. I made a layout last year where someone very, very kindly pointed out that I spelled Arctic wrong. It was an Arctic fox layout. But to be fair, I did not know that it wasn't a mistake. I just didn't know how to spell Arctic. Yeah, there's the Tennessee education system for you. Anyway, we won't get into that. So I'm figuring out exactly where I want my title, and it's looking good. I'm loving it. I did on yesterday's layout do some heat embossing. I'm not going to do that on today's. There are some of these hexagons, which I was able to cut out from the piece of paper that I tore off of the side, but then I still wanted more. So what you see me doing here is I'm tracing around the inside of the frame, so you will not be able to see my trace lines. And I'm making sure that I'm going to cut a hexagon out from the back of the page in that area. So no one will ever know when you're looking at it that there's a chunk of paper missing from behind this frame. So I'm just using my X-Acto knife to pull that out. And that way I'll have another hexagon to pair with the ones that I have gleaned from the paper that I just ripped off the side. And none the wiser. So I backed my photos with some black cardstock just as a nice little pop to kind of go with the black stitching and everything. And again, I'm going to start placing things around to prepare for stamping. And since I'm not doing heat embossing, I don't have to clear the page to make sure that I'm not getting powder all over everything, or to allow me to dump the powder off of the page. So I think when I start stamping here in a moment, you're going to see all of these photos still on the page. Yeah, you for sure will. I'm just trying to figure out like where I want to place some things first, but then I'm like, no, let's go into the stamping. So I'm using a double stamp technique. So I wanted the stamping to be lighter. So I'm doing first generation stamping on the scrap paper, and then I'm doing the second generation stamping on the layout as the actual color that I want to show up. I wanted it to be more muted, and I feel like that goes with the whole vibe of the layout and matches the colors better. This is Crackling Campfire Distress Oxide. I just kind of staggered the alphas. I did lay them out there, make sure they were spelled right, made sure everything fit kind of properly, and just made sure there weren't too matchy all lined up or anything like that. So this was funny, this funny thing. It wasn't funny at the time, it was super annoying. I pull out my Heidi Swap tiny little stamps, right? And I'm going to say, in my 3rd grade era. Y'all, the eye was there. I even went back and watched the footage because I lost the eye. You can see me. I'm looking for the eye. I lost the eye. Couldn't find the eye. I looked everywhere. I tore up my craft room. Couldn't find the eye. So what you see me doing there is first generation stamp of the L. Then I'm taking off the little stick of the L and making it work. You know, I'm making an eye, and I'm like, I'd accepted it. I'd lost my eye stamp. When I tell you that I went and got in the shower after I made this layout, and I looked down in the floor, and what is on the floor of my shower except the eye stamp? I don't know where it was. I know it was not on my foot because I did check the bottom of my feet, even though I was wearing shoes. I think it might have been in my hair. I mean, when I say to you that I am a hot mess when I'm crafting, I'm not exaggerating, you guys. But all is well in the world. I found my eye stamp, so I'm happy about that. More stamping is going on. This stamp is from Uniquely Creative. I'm using the Fired Brick, I think, and I'm just doing, again, second generation stamping. I'm also taking my cloth to kind of wipe up the hard edges. I only want like a really organic, no hard edge. I don't want like any straight edge from this grid stamp. So I'm using that cloth to kind of wipe away the ink when it gets up to the straight edge of the stamp, and I just want the pattern to kind of organically peek out from the clusters that I am creating with the other elements. So now that is the All in Create messy stamp trio that I also used on yesterday's layout. So I'm using that again to mimic the layout from yesterday. And that one, again, I'm doing mostly I think I'm doing both. I think I'm doing mostly second generation stamping, but a little bit of first, making it stamp over the grid, kind of peeking out. Just a little bit of a messy, distressed background element that is muted so it matches the tones of all the other items on the layout. So I commit to sticking down the main parts of the layout down in the middle there, and then I'm going to go in with my hexagons and kind of figure out how I want those clusters to look before I start adding in any of the die cut ephemera or the laser cut ephemera from the Academia collection. These are from 49th and Market. I will link down below with my affiliate links if you're interested in these. That they're from Cherry on Top. This collection is amazing. I always love 49th and Market, but this one is designed by someone other than Katie Paratit, who is amazing. She is unfortunately leaving as a designer though for 49th and Market, so the fact that they have found someone else equally as amazing is a thrill to my soul. So I'm excited to see the new things to come from them, and this collection I could use so much. I could use it on so much. So I pull out the laser cut elements, and they have these borders, and I'm going to pull out the pencils and just rip it off and kind of put a little bit there on that framed bit. I don't see myself using those pencils very much on a non-school layout, so I was like cool with ripping that and like maybe I'll use it again later. It's fine. Pull out these laser cut elements. I'm trying to figure out what would look good there next to the title. But the one thing that is kind of already out, and you can see it like flipped over there, is that little like chalkboard on an easel, and I love that. I plopped it down there, and I was like, that's it. No questions. That's just what I'm doing. Pulled out another hexagon that matched like the distress ones that I cut out of the paper. Popped that up on some foam tape. And this element, this velour ribbon. I put some velour ribbon on the layout yesterday, so I wanted to do the same here. Again, the repeating element, and the red and the yellow matched the stamping that I did on the background. So I'm just making like little loopy tags to stick down with my tiny attacher to the bottom of this photo. And now they're just like little, like loops. A textural element that is fun. I liked the locker. He has a locker this year. I don't know if he had a locker last year, but I popped that up on some foam tape and let it go down the side. It's just kind of gives an uneven geometric element to that cluster there. Pop that star up on some foam tape, and we're heading towards the end of the layout, you guys. This is a hop. There's a bunch of links down below with tons of other creative inspiration for back to school, all kinds of things, not just like little kids going back to school. Adding that black splatter onto my stamped element, my clusters. But make sure you hop along, give love, see all the creative things everyone's made. I love this hop. It's one of my favorites. I do it every year. So thanks to Sarah for hosting. I put a couple of Edison bulbs there coming down from that top frame. It filled in nicely into that like negative space above my photo. And like the Edison bulbs, I feel like along with vibing with the collection, they're also like, a light bulb. Like a light bulb goes off because you're learning things, right? I stuck an apple in the middle of my easel. I wasn't sure what else to put, but there were apples on the other layout. So, repeating that element. And I love the way it looked. I think it looks really cool. So I didn't try to pop that up because the spindly little legs would be a lot, but I think it looks really great. So I just used my new adhesive, sticking a cluster down there at the bottom, and I think we're going to call it a layout. It was so fun adding things. I just had to tell myself to stop. So now I'm off to take a shower and find my eye stamp. Thank you guys so much for watching. Check out the links down below. Hop along. The affiliate links are down below if you want to shop for any of these items, but let me know if you have any questions. I love to enable or help or let you know anything, but thanks for watching, y'all. Bye.